Yo, what is up, guys? I'm bringing you a brand new video, and this time we're going to be talking about the Tier 10 Pegasus and the movement combo on how to ride this horse the fastest, as well as tips and tricks for ascending as well as descending on the horse. To start off, we need to go over some basics, though, and that is your action hotkeys. You are going to have to make sure that you set up an evasion WW keybind. This is a very, very important keybind that does not show up here on this little on-screen keyboard. So this is something that I'm going to like verbally tell you that I'm holding, but it is something that's going to be very, very common. And in general, you should already have one of these keybinded because this is very useful on normal horses as well. So Tier 10 Pegasus has a few different abilities that really change the game when it comes to movement. It's got Mighty Leap, it's got Soaring Wings, and then Wings of Swiftness, as well as its standard WE ability, which just kind of makes it hover in the air. And these abilities create a lot of opportunities for you to both ascend and descend on the horse in ways that you can't on a normal Tier 9. So let's start off with how you are going to ride the fastest in a straight line. So the first thing you're going to want to do is hold down that keybind for WW. I have mine on the F3 key, as you saw earlier, and that is rebound to the side of my mouse. So I'm going to be holding the side of my mouse, which causes your horse to just kind of walk slowly forward. From there, you can see the rest of the keybinds here. I'm going to hold Shift W, and then when you go and hit F, you go into a sprint. And at the second instant accel, you can double tap E, and that is going to allow you to sort of do a little boost glide, which prevents the need for even requiring you to drift in the first place, but this is also the fastest mode of transport in a straight line that you can do on the horse. Now, you don't actually need to be holding your WW keybind, and you don't need to be holding your shift key for that matter. You can just do F and then double tap E, but I do like to hold those two buttons anyway, because if you ever need to drift, it allows you to instantly just hit A and S or S and D, and then go directly back into your flight movement. So I keep those held like that, and then after the S instant accel, you just double tap E. Now, something else you can do if you want to get your flight faster is you can actually drift immediately after landing on the horse. And this is another reason why you want to hold down that WW keybind as well as shift, is let's say you land and then you hit A and S. It basically, every time you hit A and S, it resets your ability to double tap E. So you can hit A and S, double tap E, A and S, double tap E, A and S, double tap E. And when I say double tap E, I'm hitting it many times just because that way I don't need to worry about timing. But you basically can cancel that flight and make it where after you land, you hit A and S to do a drift, and then you can immediately go back into your E flight ability. Now, this has a couple of very practical applications. First of all, when traveling down a hill, it's actually the fastest way to travel down a hill, and it's not a very good way to travel up a hill. It is a little bit slower than the standard instant accel, S instant accel, and then double tap E. But whenever you are traveling down a hill, it can be the fastest way for you to travel because of how quick you can descend when using your E ability. So that is something that you're going to want to keep in mind. It's also just a really fun way, just in general, like flying, drifting, flying, drifting. It's kind of just an entertaining way to fly around. I do this pretty often just for fun. So that's something that I have a lot of enjoyment, that I get a lot of enjoyment out of that. So now let's talk about what if you want to ascend up to new heights. You want to get higher and try to climb, say, cliffs. Well, the fastest way to do that is actually by using the WE skill. So when you hit WE, it sort of puts you into a glide. From there, I'm going to hold the WW keybind. I'm going to hit Space E, Shift, and Q. And that's basically going to allow you to get as much of a height boost as physically possible. And you typically want to time that at the very start of your WE animation. So if you go WE, you go nice up and high, and then you can use the rest of those abilities to sort of go up. And you really don't need to let go of any of those abilities either. So for me, I just kind of hold on to all these buttons, including my WW keybind. And this will perpetually allow you to just fly every single time that you land. But if you are at a standstill, and let's say that you're far down and you're like, okay, I want to get up here, the best possible way would be to hit W and E to get that initial height, and then do the rest of it in order to get as much height from a standstill as possible. But if you're trying to climb something exceptionally high that you can't get up in the first glide, then all you really need to know how to do is you can start off from just basic on the ground, And anytime your horse touches a small little ledge, kind of like this, it's going to reset with a jump, and it's going to allow you to continue to fly upwards as long as you're holding those buttons. So if you hold E space shift Q, every time your horse touches a piece of ground, you'll notice how it gets an additional little jump boost, which basically allows you to ascend practically anything in the entire game, because anytime your horse has a little hiccup where it sort of touches any sort of piece of the ground, it allows you to reset that jump and you can continue to fly. So you'll see right here, I touched a piece of ground, and there I kind of just didn't touch the ground, so it fell. But even on like the side of a cliff, you can see as soon as I get a little touch of ground, it resets the flight, and it allows you to continue to fly upwards as long as you're just holding those abilities. So it pretty much allows you to scale anything in the game with a little bit of patience and just a slight amount of directing your camera towards those little lips and ledges. But other than that, the only other thing for general flight is just when descending down a hill, you want to be using your E ability. So the E ability is very, very useful for descent. So if you're going down, you double tap E, drift to refresh it, as we discussed. So anytime you're about to go down a hill that's not quite flat, you definitely want to drift after each landing, so that way there you can continue to use your falling ability rather than just straight up instinct cell, S instinct selling down a hill. And that is basically it for descending. And that is everything for ascending, and that is everything for traveling in a straight line. So you pretty much know exactly everything you need to do on the horse in order to move on it. And one last little piece of, I guess, statistic is when traveling in this manner and doing the sort of flight cancel at the end of your instinct cell into S instinct cell, this is approximately 1 or 2% slower than even a tier 10 Doom with 4 instinct cells in a straight line. So it is definitely a very, very fast horse and super, super really nice because it's kind of a jack of all trades. And something to keep note of as well is when you're doing the drift cancel flight version, the double tap E skill definitely uses a lot of stamina. You can notice how that stamina bar on the horse is going to be depleting rather quickly. So if you do have a long way to travel, try not to spam this too much because you're going to find yourself running out of stamina way, way sooner. Like I pretty much just went from one side of Velia to the other and I lost a lot of durability already. So this doesn't really take you very far. You maybe get from Calpheon to Altanova maybe. So definitely keep that in mind when traveling on the horse for long distances. You're going to want to stick with Instant Excel, SN Excel into double E tap, and that is going to be the lowest stam to traveling in a straight line distance ratio that you can get. But I hope this video was super useful. I appreciate you guys very much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.